Well, I did say, and I would say that that element of playfulness and entrepreneurship does exist in Europe, but just not to the same degree. And I'm not really sure why. I think it's maybe a deep cultural thing. Um, Part of it is, and this is being really too simplistic, but that sort of American frontier and the American dream and the idea that anybody can invent something new and get rich like Thomas and Edison or something like that. It's all a very American idea. And it comes, I think, from the time when the US was born and the way it grew. Whereas in Europe, there has been sort of a history that the people who were really rich got there by some pretty ugly means, sort of feudal estates and things like this. And so it doesn't seem ethical or desirable to do that. Now that's a long time ago, right? And the world has absolutely shifted, but I do think that some of those cultural things like that do take a long time to change in the mindset. The idea that, you know, if somebody invents something and they make a lot of money, that sounds like a great idea, you know? Compared to lots of other ways people make money in the world, it's not bad. So I think that's part of the reason. But I also think there can be policy reasons. You know, when we think about the number of days it takes to start a business, that's actually a really interesting statistic that I think people should really look at. In the U.S., if you want to start a new company, well, in most states, you just go on the website. You know, it takes 5 minutes. It's really simple to set up the legal structure for a company. And in many European countries, there's just loads and loads of paperwork and delays, and it takes time. And you think, well, what's the difference? You know, if it takes 21 days or 3 days, a company could last for decades. Well, for the young entrepreneur, who, particularly in my field, if you think, oh, I really think what Mark Zuckerberg did was amazing, but I want to start a competitor to it, or I have this idea for a new kind of website or a new app, so I want to start a company. And then if you, at that point, you realize, gee, I have like giant reams of paperwork and legal bills and things just to start a company, you may just get discouraged and just not do it from the very beginning. Whereas in the US, you just go, oh, I want to start a company. And what do I do? How do I start a company? Go here, pay your $20, and now you've got a company. All right, great. You know, you're off to the races. So that kind of thing is really important, I think, and hard to measure. It's really, really hard to measure because you don't know what business didn't get started just because of that silly reason that some young kid like Mark Zuckerberg, who's obviously not a businessman, not in any traditional sense. I mean, he is now, but you know, he's a coder. He's a guy who wanted to make a cool website, and putting barriers in front of people like that when they're just trying to invent something is pretty bad.